Lily Lopez. Lily is the founder and president of the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
So they would skip me, and it's year after year after year. Even when the organization was 20 years old, yes, I was not announced anywhere.
How did you face that fear of getting pushed out into an area that you don't feel comfortable with? And welcome to Game Changers Live from our home studio here at the campus of FIU's College of Communications, Architecture, and the Arts. My name is Sergio, Tigera, your host, and you can catch each and every episode with Game Changers, like my guest today, which is Lily Lopez. Lily is the founder and president of the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. She started in 1994. They have over 1,500 members. She's been a staple in the South Florida community, but also abroad, in the entire U.S. community, especially when it comes to Hispanic communities. And, her organization has been tremendously impactful. It has raised over $750,000 in scholarships over the years and is a conduit, right? Bringing that connective tissue to the Hispanic organizations in South Florida. So welcome, Lily.
Thank you, Sergio. I made it. We've been trying to do this for such a long time.
We have.
My schedule is really bad, but I said, no, I have to be there with Sergio because, I care a lot for you and your beautiful wife, who's a good friend and member. So here I am, finally, very happy and honored. Thank you for your patience.
I appreciate it. And you're an FIU alum as well, right?
In a way, no. Actually, I graduated from St. Thomas University, but I served on the President's Council for FIU.
There you go.
So I'm a strong supporter and advocate for FIU. It's like I'm like an adopted alum. Basically,
alum.
That's a new one, right?
That's
adopted
perfect.
Alum. Yes,
you get the honorary doctorate degree.
That's from St. Thomas University.
There you go.
Honorary doctorate degree. So
nice.
Here, I love FIU and love working with them. And we have a board member that's from FIU as well, of the South Florida Hispanic Chamber, Anthony Rionda. And this is one of the best schools in the U.S. What can I say?
Absolutely.
That is a fact.
Absolutely.
So thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. So tell me something. You had a long history in this space, but you weren't always as part of the Hispanic Chamber. You started in 94. Previously to that, what were you doing and how did you then transition?
Yes. It's an interesting story. I graduated from St. Thomas University with a major in political science and summa cum laude, all A's. And then I wanted to go to law school. I want to be a lawyer. I'm a talker, of course. And then what happened was that my mom got very ill. So then a friend of mine who was working at the Spanish American League Against Discrimination left our job and said, you know what, you'd be good for this job because it's a nonprofit. You're a journalist. You study political science. You know how to speak in public. Why don't you come? And I'll recommend you. So I went to interview with Dr. Osvaldo Soto, who passed away years ago, but he was a big mentor to me. And I got the job. So there I learned to do press conferences, to speak in public, to write articles and to coordinate. We did voter drives, we did so much. And I guess being with him and being also with Dr. Padron, who had been founding chairman of SALAD. So he had been a strong leader in SALAD. He was chairman. And so he helped me, and also Dr. Soto helped me, and they threw me out there. And I remember complaining, you want me to do this by myself? Yes, you can do it. And I see myself now doing the same thing with some of my employees and some of my scholarship recipients and some of the students that have worked with me, because also besides the scholarships, we have an education enrichment program where we have paid interns that work with us. And I have success stories of individuals. And I have a young man who's already 40 he was an FIU graduate who worked for me. And I remember I would look and say, oh my God, why did I hire him? Because, he was like a little, not slow, but he was, young people en otro mundo. And then suddenly this young man became he's a president, CEO of a national organization.
Wow.
A company actually within the US and even Puerto Rico and the Caribbean. And he's like, I always say, you're my pride and joy. But the thing that I was saying, why did I hire him? And then he worked for me for 4 years. I really kept him on as a marketing director, and then he moved on as he had to move on because he was extremely qualified. So imagine like that. I have so many success stories of students that have worked for me, that I've hired them, trained them. They've been with me for 4 or 5 years. And now there's another girl who's a top executive at Marriott. So imagine that. And I could keep on going on and on. Yeah. So what I did with them is what they did with me.
Right. So you were put out there, kind of sink or swim, out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. So
what did you have to then, did you ever find yourself saying, oh my God, doubting yourself, I can't do this, or all right, put on your big girl pants on. Let's do this. How did you face that fear of getting pushed out into an area that you don't feel comfortable with?
Well, I never had fear because I think probably I'm a communicator. So I guess once they threw me out there, and even before I worked at Salad, I used to be with other clubs and other human rights organizations, and they had me as spokesperson. So I would go to Radio Mambi and to this and that.
You're always out
and I
there.
remember when Mayor Regalado used to be in Radio Mambi, and they would say, "Oh, aquí está Lilian." They decían, "Lilian is here." I mean, they would have to give me, I was like 22 years old. Let's give her the microphone. So we talk about human rights and all of that. So I wasn't scared of that. But what happened was the transition was from Salad that my mom got more. Basically, she died, like she passed away 2 years after we founded the chamber. And I had some friends of my older brother, that would say, "Oh, you should start a Hispanic chamber because Hispanics are not properly represented in all these other organizations. We're all placed in Hispanic Affairs Committee and this and that. And you have time, and I'll give you an office, I'll give you a secretary, and that way you can take care of your mother." So I started doing that so I could take care of her, because I had some time. And then she passed away. And then I remember before she was dying, she would say, "Can't believe my daughter's so qualified. She's working this small little Hispanic Chamber of Commerce." And I told her, "I'm doing this for you. Because that way, if you go to hospital, I could be with you, come back, because I'm in corporate America. You can't take care of anybody if you're in corporate America." So that's the story. And then it grew so much slowly, but it did grow, accordingly, the way it had to grow, and steadily, but fast. And to become what it is today. And she never saw that. So that's my story.
Wow.
Which is interesting, right? Because I wanted to do something completely different. But I think I was meant for this because I communicate.
So the times have changed quite a bit from the mid 90s to today.
Of course.
The role of women in the workplace has changed quite a bit.
Yes.
Obviously. What was it like for you when you were starting off?
Oh, it was very hard. Very hard, because I remember there's a gentleman who helped me a lot. He was an older gentleman, and he said, "Well, the situation with you is that you're a minority 3 times. You're Hispanic, woman, and you're young." That time I was very young.
Yeah.
Así que 3 minorías. Me dice, "Tú tienes 3 minorías, esto es duro." Me decía así.
Right.
Yeah, because sometimes it's very difficult to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Nowadays, still, we're moving along, but it takes time. I don't know why it's so difficult for women to really make it. Things are changing for the better, as I said previously, but back in the day, it was very hard.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I would go to other organizations, to meetings, to luncheons and dinners, and they wouldn't announce me. They would announce other presidents of other organizations that were male. But then I had a friend of mine who's past chair, who's my best friend, Felipe Basuto, president of TD Bank. He would stand up and he would go to the MC and say, "You have to announce Lily Lopez. You have to announce her." Because they would skip me. And it's year after year after year. Even when the organization was 20 years old, yes, I was not announced anywhere. And then other presidents of other organizations, other chambers that were male, were announced. So he would stand up and would go to whatever organization it was. And then it started to change. But it took a long time. You have to really just keep at it, I guess.
And that's in Miami, which you would think all Hispanic, and they would recognize.
No, there's something, I don't know what it was, and I've always tried to figure it out. What happens? Why is there that disconnect, that women are not as appreciated for what they do? They have to work 2 or 3 times as hard as men. I don't know why. And then at the same time, you look at men, and men always have supported me. So I don't understand.
Your biggest supporters are men.
The one who went, "Can you announce Lily? You have to announce her." So, and the majority of the people that always empowered me were men. So I don't know where the disconnect, and I've really thought about it. Where does we get to that point where men support you so much, but there's a point when there are other people that don't recognize you. Yeah. So is it men? Is it women? What is it? And that's why in the Hispanic Chamber, I established and created the Hispanic Women's Society Network, because I said women have to be more connected, more supportive to one another. And then it has changed dramatically. Like my husband says, "Wow, Lily, this chamber has more women than other chambers." Like the event on Friday, I could tell you maybe 65% were women.
Right.
That's not the case in chambers of commerce. So I said, let's create some group so that women stick together. So we meet often. We do events. Let's say the committee, we color code ourselves. So they expand the network, and they bring along more women.
Yeah.
Which is good. But again, like I said, men have always supported me so much, so I have no idea what happens. There's a moment where women, like in corporate boards, women are in corporate boards.
Right.
Even here in South Florida. There was Aida Levitan recently. I came out in this book, and she as well, and I was moderating the panel of women. And she told me, "You have to ask me this question. There's so many boards in Miami, and you don't see women. Like UM lacks women. I don't know, FIU is okay, but I still think they need to get more women in their board. United Way, even though there's there's not enough women, and they have a lot of Hispanic women supporting. So they're not, I mean, when I say women, I say Hispanic women. Let me take that back. Hispanic women in boards. And you go to even the PAM, the Frost Museum, the Miami Foundation. You go to all of that, and I say it's nothing wrong. But you look at the list. You need more Hispanic women. If the population here is 70% Hispanic, in Miami, Florida, you need to have more Hispanic women in all of these boards. It's not to get upset. You're not antagonizing anybody. You're just saying it like it is. And majority of the people that probably bring you money probably are companies that are Hispanic owned. So I think we've gotten to the point where these organizations and companies need to open their eyes. And even at the national level,
I was
Hispanic
say,
women
more so on the national level. If it's bad here, imagine the rest
Sergio,
of the country.
Imagine, and I was recently at the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We've been members since 1995, I think, and it's a great organization. We're in the convention in Kansas City, and they had a panel discussion where they're talking about that Latina women. They call it Latina. We call her Hispanic, but Mexican Americans call it more Latina. But BSMA is the same thing. Hispanic women are not represented in corporate boards, again, like I said previously. And the fact of the matter is that they are creating jobs, and they are the number 4th largest economy in the world of the job creation, and in terms of how many people are hired by Hispanic women-owned businesses. You imagine that? I was sitting there, I said, what? That's big.
That's amazing.
That's big. So Hispanic women are creating more jobs in the United States, and the economy that they help is more than any other economy in the world. I was like, wow. And then they're not represented in corporate boards. So listen, corporate America, you have to name Hispanic women, because if not, they're going to have to boycott all these organizations and companies. What the heck? When I saw that, I said, my gosh.
You don't want Hispanic women mad at you.
Yeah, you don't want Hispanic women. Most
you don't want anyone.
They're creating jobs, and they're contributing to the economy.
Yeah.
So all of those, we were like in shock. I said, what? So that was important to hear that. That was like an eye opener. And then I wanted to send that message. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to send that message to corporate America.
There you go. You heard it first from here. So, you mentioned that it's important for women to support each other. The same goes for Hispanics.
Of course.
How are you seeing Hispanic businesses impacting the entire economy? It's a huge number. And I don't think people realize it.
People don't realize, but imagine women, Hispanic women, they business owners. It's like the 4th economy in the world. That's what they said at that meeting, at the convention. I was like, wow. So that's the huge, and men also. Yeah. But Hispanic women are beating men. I don't know what's happening. We need to get the boys more on the go. It used to be, and I have something interesting to mention. You know that we give scholarships beside the education enrichment program of the paid interns and all of that. But we take students on a paid trip. That's another story. But the scholarships that we give, and we started giving, it used to be all boys. Back in 95, 96, 97, 98, everyone, all the people who applied, the students, were boys. And it kept going, boys. Then maybe in 2008, 2009, we started seeing more girls. But now it's gone to the point where it's all girls. So that's a problem. We need to take care of that, because that means that women will take over. And if women take over, then we're not going to have children, because if a woman doesn't admire a man, then that woman won't marry a man that you don't admire. So that's a problem for the population. I tell you, recently we had a lunch, and we brought Rear Admiral, that's Cuban American. He's in the Pacific, and he came to speak. And I told the teachers I want to bring students. So for an opportunity to meet someone who, there was not a young boy, high school students, senior, they were all girls. And I said, wow. I told the teacher, wow, don't we have any boys either? She said, no, Lily, they don't apply. So they don't apply for scholarships, and they don't even apply when they see something interesting. You would think, as a Rear Admiral, who's a Hispanic man, Cuban American, who's made it to, he's in charge of the Pacific, all of the Pacific fleet there, exactly. And no boys came. So that's worrisome too. We need to encourage boys to participate and take them off the phone, and and girls too off the phone, because that's affecting our society very much so in an adverse way.
Yeah, having 2 kids, believe me, and everybody knows watching out there who has kids now, it's so hard to peel them off, and it's been scientifically proven that it does make them lose confidence. It hurts their self-esteem. They don't want to communicate.
And it's a problem.
Yeah,
for the future generations. It is a problem. And then boys, I need boys to apply for scholarships.
Yeah, there you go.
I know. It used to be all boys.
Wow.
Now it's all girls.
So tell me,
we need a equilibrium here.
So tell me, going back to your childhood, tell me about that. Like, did you grow up here? You were born in Cuba? You
I was
grew
born
up
in
here?
Cuba, and then came when I was 3, and kindergarten, everything. I did everything here. Exactly, everything here.
So was there
Miami.
a game-changing moment where I ask my guests this all the time? Was there a time in your life where it was an inflection point, where something happened, or you had an experience, or something that really, turned the light on for you, where you said, this is what I want to be, or here's kind of like my mission in life? Was there a time like that?
I guess probably when we started the organization, and I realized doing all of these, connecting people and just making it happen.
Yeah.
And being out there, I realized that I'm a communicator, that I have to put people together. I have to help people in any way I can. And I like the mentoring thing. That aspect too is part of the foundation of the chamber. Awesome. Providing opportunities, the amount of students that have worked with me, that have been paid interns, and I've hired them, and to see them grow, to see how they've been able, and I teach them. And I'm straightforward. I mean, I would say, no, you can't do this. You got to stop this. And you teach them. And they appreciate it, because I appreciate it when Dr. Soto and Dr. Butler would say, no, you can do this. You have to do this. You appreciate when people that you respect.
When somebody believes in you.
Yeah, and even though you complain a little bit, but you say, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this. You have to do this. Yeah, that's the way it is. And you have to throw them out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Winston Churchill famously said one time that if you want somebody to grow, you impute them a virtue. So you say, you are this, you are here.
Yes.
This is where I see you. And then you watch them kind of grow into it.
You can do this.
And so having that kind of inspiration, a coach, a mentor, someone that can say, hey, I believe in you, right? Come on, you can do this.
It's not hard.
Is incredibly important.
It is.
So you've been, you're on the run all the time. You're incredibly busy. You have a daughter, you have a family, you have a husband.
Uh-huh.
How do you keep things balanced? Maybe not balanced. Maybe it's, a fusion. Maybe it's some kind of, mix of saying, this is part of my life and part of my work, and it's all kind of the same.
It's sort of like became part of the family, since it's not corporate America.
Yeah.
It's a nonprofit organization. So I remember my daughter, she's an engineer, she's 24, at a golf tournament. The first golf tournament, she's a year and a half. And there's a picture that she's like trying to play golf. So she was there. And then at all the events she would come. And then Orlando Romero, who passed away, who was a past chair of the organization, whom we love so much, he would always, he was in charge of all those golf tournaments. And he would say, Lilita, come over here. You read who won the raffle. She would come over. And you know what? It shows you, it taught her.
Yeah.
Because she used to say to me, I'm an introvert. Are you an introvert? How come you speak? Because you forced me,
Yeah, right.
You forced me. And then she would say no to Romer, and then to other chairs of the board that are her friends. They would always ask her to come to the stage. You pick the winning number. So she would do all that. And now she's grateful for that, because it opened her to speak. She said, actually, your job is not that bad. I said, wow, you didn't like it? Because I used to speak. Oh, I got used to it, she says.
Yeah, I got used to it. I like the limelight.
It's a matter of learning. Some people are born with it, and you improve. But those are not born with a talent of speaking. You could learn. Everybody can learn anything.
Yeah.
You can learn. Even if you're an introvert, you learn to speak.
Well, and communicating is so important, because we're always selling something, right? Whether we're selling to each other, or we're selling it to your spouse or your kids, you're always convincing.
Exactly.
And
sales, everything is sales. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, and I think that's one of the things that is missing in schools today, because as a matter of fact, we paid for an extra class for an enrichment class for our daughter that is public speaking, because it's not really taught in class, right? And so there's a lot of those kind of life skills that we're not learning.
And it's an exercise. It is an exercise.
Oh, yeah.
It is an exercise. I remember my first time. I remember the night before, I was thinking what I have to say. And then eventually, I don't prepare for anything, right?
Yeah,
but the
exactly.
first time you speak, oh my God, you gotta say this and that. And I'm a communicator, so imagine an introvert, but it's an exercise.
Well,
it's like everything, not having, if you have muscle, you start doing lifting weights, you got a little bit of muscle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I left corporate America and I started off my own firm, you know, and doing coaching and things like that, I brought my brother-in-law over to do a video, my first video, and we went outside to my backyard and we started shooting, and we were there for like 2 hours. And it was always, oh no, we heard a bird. No, there was a plane. I said too many ums, and I ended up not using any of it.
Right.
None of it, because I was so critical of myself,
of course,
and so people tend to be very conscious, especially if you have the headphones on, you're listening to your own voice on a microphone. It's terrifying sometimes because you're like, I don't like the sound of my own voice, but
it is,
when
Sergio,
you do it,
and you know, I did a show
confident.
for 10 years in WLRN, and I remember that my husband Alfredo now says, Lily, you do it so much better because you were trying to be so professional and stiff, and that's not you. So it would be like this, very much, more like softly, speaking softly, not moving that much and all of that. And in reality, he said, you do better now.
When you're authentic self.
I was young and I tried to be more corporate, more professional.
Sure.
And you have to be you.
You have to kind of fit the mold.
I got to be the way I am, and that's it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you learn that that's who you are. You can't change it.
Yeah. No, I worked for Caterpillar for 14 years. When I first started, I moved to Illinois, which is, central Illinois.
Oh, cold.
And it was I was the only, and cold. And I think I was the only Hispanic that spoke fluent Spanish at the factory where I worked. And I felt completely out of place. I felt like an imposter completely because it was an engineering company and I was in marketing and sales. And again, I kind of felt like I had to,
you had to
act differently. And it's terrible because you want to be yourself and you feel like you're trapped, like an imposter.
You feel you're trapped,
so
exactly. So it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
You got to be yourself. And that's what I tell everybody, be yourself.
So the pandemic had a big change on people where people started realizing, like, I don't want to be in this corporate world.
Yes.
But it takes a lot of courage to go out on your own. It takes the right situation. A lot of people have families, they have commitments, have, mortgages, things like that could be very risky. You know, when you went out on your own, you were a little younger.
Yes.
You had, did you have a runway? A lot younger. Yeah. Did you have a runway of cash, or were there times where you're like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it?
Of course. Absolutely. Yes.
And so what advice would you give to someone who's thinking
work for free. I was a volunteer basically with the organization.
You're working for free. So
exactly. Yeah. And then slowly with the members and the sponsors and then implementing new programs that people enjoyed. Yeah, it took a long time, of course. It was hard.
Was there ever a time where you said, look, this is crazy. I'm not going to be able to survive. I should go back to corporate America? Or were you just,
no,
I'm on the road. That's it. I'm going. There's no looking back. Wow.
There's no looking back.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lily. I appreciate you coming on.
Yes, I made it finally. We've been trying to do this like for a year and a half. And today I said, oh my God, I have to go to see Sergio. And I said, I'm going to get in the car and go over there because you and Asling are so nice and such great people. And I wish you the best. You're doing a great job with everything that you do, Sergio. Yeah, you're an inspiration to everybody. I mean, you're on your own and successful, a family man, a businessman, and very happy to be here.
Thank you,
to support you in any way I can.
You've done an amazing job. You are a legend here in South Florida. Everybody knows Lily, and keep being your authentic self. Keep shining. I mean, I'm sure the organization is going to go on successfully for many, many years. Everyone loves going to all the events and all the different things you're having.
There's always a program and
there's always something, right? I don't know how you do it, but there's always
but there's always a conference. There's a learning component,
and then there's the fun part.
You gotta have for Hispanics, you have to have both.
Exactly.
If not, it's not worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you don't miss an episode. Make sure you share this because you could be the game changer in someone else's life that needs to hear this message. So thank you so much, Lily, and we'll see you next time, guys.